You might have seen my last video where I had picked up a Hitachi compressor, 6-gallon one, for 30 bucks online. It didn't have a ton of mileage on it, but it needed a little work. So I decided to kind of refurbish it a little bit. For some unknown reason, I now want to make a small cart for it. I'll put it downstairs, use it for blowing up tires and such. Actually, I do know the reason. I found out recently that I think I'm what they call a maker. I just go from one project to another, refurbishing or making things. I've been doing it all my life, even as a small kid. I'm not quite sure why I do it, but I know that I enjoy thinking about doing it. I enjoy planning it. I can plan something a few days ahead of time or sometimes months ahead of time. And then it's just so wonderful to see them sort of come to life. What was in your mind is now reality. I have about 350 videos on YouTube. Half of them are making things over the last several years. Like I said, I'm going to make a cart for this little air compressor. So join me, because this is going to be a minimalist build, a moving air compressor using almost nothing. Well, I'm headed out to Morin Steel. It's about 20 minutes away. I have a couple of other errands to do too. And they have, it's really nice. It's a local place run by a couple of brothers. You can get anything from a 12-inch I-beam down to 1-inch flat bar. And it beats the heck out of the prices from hardware stores or the big box stores. And still, steel is expensive, particularly since the political situation happened. When I've been buying it, I've noticed a significant increase in the price. But I need some, I want some, and what I'm getting is actually not that much in comparison to some other times that I buy steel. So it's a beautiful morning, 31 degrees here in Maine, in southern Maine, and we're off to buy some metal. So, do you have any 1-inch square stock?
Want it?
Thin as possible. I guess that's probably 1/8 inch or something. So here it begins. Because the supports are recessed underneath a round tank, I have to make this just the right width. I don't want the wheels sticking out too much, and yet I need to make sure they don't rub against the tank. Because the wheels are tall too, there's a greater chance of them hitting the tank. So I need to measure things very carefully. And I'm using this piece of angle iron that's going to act as an axle, and I need to bolt it onto these two legs. I just use 1-inch angle iron for that, but I'm going to use some square stock for the centerpiece that goes up to the other leg and then sticks out to connect to the handle. The angle iron has to be notched so that the square stock can pass through it, and I'll weld these two together afterwards. I've opened up the end a bit so I can easily work this bolt, and I'm going to bolt the whole thing onto the compressor. That way I'll be sure it's lined up after I've welded it. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to tack it first, and then after I know that it's rigid, I'll take it off and finish the weld. Close your mouth, Dan, you're on camera. These wheels, salvaged from a previous project, are probably a little bit too big, but they're what I've got. The axle for each one is just a threaded rod that fits really tight, a couple washers, and a couple of large lock nuts, so I don't have to worry about tightening them or it coming apart. I'm cutting this just the right length so that when I tip the handle about 45 degrees, it rests in my hand at my waist. I need a handle that's about 6 inches long and that's going to be tilted 45 degrees. So I'm just going to cut a 45-degree notch in this square stock, bend it over, and then weld it up. I'm not the best welder in the world. I'm what I call a recreational welder. It ain't pretty, but the metal always sticks together. I just make sure I get plenty of penetration. And this is just a little leg in the front that will lift it as high as the wheels are. So the front and the rear will be level. And now to connect the handle to the bottom piece that has the axle. Because I am a quote-unquote recreational welder, my welds need a lot of cleanup. So I'll put a grinding wheel on the grinder and put a little time into it and try to smooth everything out. And with a small wire brush and some naphtha, which will clean things and take the oils off the metal and make it so the paint has a better chance of sticking. Now, something you didn't see me make was this hose holder. I bent up that piece of flat bar and tacked it on when you weren't looking, and it should allow me to coil the hose on here and hold it pretty good. I have a large roll of craft paper on a holder underneath one side of my assembly table. It tends to keep a lot of the spray paint off the assembly table. Not all of it, but it's a lot better than if I didn't have it. The two wheels will take a large washer on either side of them and then a large lock nut
which I will tighten down and not have to worry about it coming off. And the original bolts, because they fit good, and a washer and a lock washer on each one. I picked up a short piece of neoprene tubing, and you heat it up with a heat gun. It becomes very flexible, and then you can use it as a handle. Notice I've got it 45, so it'll cover more of the handle. 1 1/4 inch fit over this 1 inch square stock, just right. With a little help. So that I could tip it back without it hitting the ground, I cut the corner off and gave it a little more leeway.
Well, it's done, and it was pretty good because it went together well. This small air hose looks to be probably about 25 feet long, and it came with another one, which I'm not going to put on now. And it's small, which I do like because it's going to be used for things like tire inflating and maybe my nail gun once in a while. Those don't need a large feed of air. I was pleasantly surprised to see that when I plugged the hose into it, I could hear a small hiss, because I know this is probably not really tight, but the 90 pounds of pressure that I put in here had stayed for 3 or 4 days inside the compressor, which means there are no leaks. And I actually use the valve to drain it and release all the pressure. Kind of cool. Even my old Craftsman doesn't hold pressure that long at all. Some things I had to do to modify and do different the second time around, which there won't be a second time around. This hose reel, this one down here was too long to be able to wrap around, so I had to cut about 1 inch off from it so I could wrap around. The top one I left the way it was. On the back, where the cart handle hits, when I tipped it back, if I tipped it back a little bit too much, it would kind of hit the ground. So what I did was, I took the grinder and just cut the corner off of that down there. And it doesn't affect anything structurally or anything. I might take and dab a little paint on it next time you can paint out, but that's about it. The other thing that I would do differently, 2 things. One is to stop that from happening, I might put the handle a little bit closer. I thought I had it pretty close, but I put it like 1 inch closer, so when you do that and tip it down, the corner doesn't hit nearly as easily. And I'd probably make this about 2 inches taller, because it's fine the way it is, but it's a little bit short, just a little bit, which, nothing to write home about, nothing to worry about, but that's one thing I would do. So, what do I have in here as far as the cost, as far as the cart is concerned? Well, it's very interesting in that the metal was $31, which seems like a lot, but where I get it, it's a lot less expensive, and the steel is expensive. And you saw me purchase it and what I had at the metal shop. The wheels were about $12. I've had them for a while. They're very good wheels. They're ball bearing. They probably cost more now. So that's about $12. And This is interesting, this neoprene tubing. I went online and looked at Lowe's, and you could buy a box of like 12 feet for like $35, and I thought it's about $3 a foot, and I really just need a foot. I don't need $35 worth of stuff. I mean, where am I ever going to use it? So I stopped at my handy dandy True Value hardware store. They usually have everything I need. They're very helpful and everything, and I really try to shop locally when at all possible. And I go in and they have it on roll, and I say, hey, you know, it's a 1 1/4 inch, exactly what I need, which is the way they are. They usually have what I need. And I said, I just need 6 inches. So we sell it by the foot. I said, give me a foot, that's fine. Hence I have, you know, 2 pieces here. So I check out with my watch, Apple Pay, and I go out and Apple Pay comes up on my watch and it says $13.70. So whoa, I went in and said, is this $13.70? And he scanned the barcode on it again. He says $12.90, you know, plus tax. I said, yeah. So I thought to myself, well, I'll know what not to buy there again. So $35 for 12 feet or almost $14 for a foot. Like I said, try to shop locally whenever possible. But sometimes you just have to make a decision. You saw me heat this up, and when you heat it up, it gets soft. You put it on, and it hardens, and they make great hands. Entire cart is about $45, you know, when you include everything. It might cost you a little more today if you were going to buy the wheels, or you might get some wheels that really, you know, aren't meant to hold 200 pounds. You know, just 50 would be fine. That would probably be a lot less expensive. So about, you know, $45, I'd say. And then the compressor was $30, which I thought was a great buy. So that's about $75, and I've got about $5 worth of parts in it as far as the gauges and the connectors. So let's say $80 for the cart, compressor, hose, the whole thing. And I know you can buy a decent little compressor, you know, maybe at Harbor Freight or something for about that. Probably, I think they're more like $129. But you know, you wouldn't get the cart with it, and you probably wouldn't get the hose with it. And these could be, you know, pretty expensive too. And it came with an air blower on it and all the connectors and everything. So this compressor is in excellent condition. The cart, hopefully, is in excellent condition. And I'm ready to move this down in the garage and keep it for when I need to top off the tires on the camper or on the truck. And when I want to work outside, which I do a lot during the summer, and I won't have to haul everything outdoors from here. I can just wheel this up, and it'll handle you know, my nail guns and a few other tools quite easily. Well, once again, I thank you for watching this build of this trolley for this air compressor. I'll leave a link at the end for the refurbishing of this air compressor should you care to see it. Like and subscribe if you have a mind. I'd appreciate it. And you have a good rest of the day. Winter's coming here. Wherever you are, stay warm, particularly if you're in a cold area.